Hello, everybody. Welcome and thanks for joining us today for our July Lunch and Learn. I'm glad everybody could be here. I'm Julie Brown. I'm the Raptor Migration and Programs Director at HMA, and I'll be facilitating things today with my colleague, Kat Lauer. She's the Engagement and Communications Coordinator for the Hawk Migration Association, and we're very excited to welcome Jorge Velásquez, who's the Science Director for Latin America and the Caribbean at Audubon Americas, who's going to be speaking to us about how Audubon is addressing bird conservation efforts throughout the Americas. And before we jump in, I will just mention a little background about HMA. If you're new to the organization, we are a nonprofit with a working board, and we provide support to the raptor migration monitoring network across the Americas. So there are about 200 Hawkwatch sites throughout North and Central and South America, and they monitor migration during the spring and fall and report those data to our database, hawkcount.org. And we provide resources and support to the monitoring network, like providing protocols and data sheets and data support. We offer a number of annual grants to sites and to support raptor research. And we offer a lot of educational resources like Hawk ID materials. And we are an active partner in the Raptor Population Index. That's a program that produces conservation assessments and trend analyses using those long-term counts from the Hawk Count database. So if you're interested, you can always learn a little bit more about what we do at hawkmigration.org or our database, hawkcount.org. And we are recording today. We're also live streaming on Facebook, and you can view any of our past Lunch and Learn programs on our Facebook page or on our website. You can scroll down to the What's New section of our homepage on hawkmigration.org or go to the Events and Tours tab. We're muting everybody to avoid distraction, but we'd love you to connect with us. So we encourage you to add questions and comments to the chat. And Kat is going to be reading those questions to Jorge at the end of the program. And we love it when people chime in and let us know where you're joining from. So feel free to do that. You can also use the chat to sign up for our e-newsletter. If you don't already receive that, it goes out a couple times a month. And we have upcoming events and things we're working on and available grants and things like that. You can just put your name and email address or send it directly to me in the chat. With that, I will hand things over to Kat.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to introduce Jorge Velásquez. Jorge serves as Science Director for Latin America and the Caribbean at Audubon Americas. In his role, Jorge conducts spatial action mapping efforts to develop conservation portfolios for multiple projects. He coordinates the development of web apps and tools to communicate results and leads impact monitoring of conservation projects. He holds a PhD in ecology and evolution from SUNY Stony Brook. Thank you so much for joining us, Jorge. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Julie and Kat, for the invitation to give this talk. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share some of the work that we are doing at Audubon to protect birds across the Americas. And I will be focusing my talk today on the work that we are doing in Latin America and the Caribbean. So I would like to begin my talk by showing you this wonderful infographic that was developed by the Audubon Migratory Bird Initiative. And what is shown in this infographic is a picture of what we know about bird migration for North American breeding birds from 9,300 individually tracked birds. And what is very clear from this image is how birds connect really far away places from Alaska to almost the tip of the American continent. And it emphasizes also how if we want to protect birds, we really need to coordinate conservation efforts at a hemispheric scale. So this is the main reason why at Audubon 5 years ago there was an executive decision to invest in expanding its operation in Latin America. Audubon had previously worked in several countries in Latin America, but starting 5 years ago there was a big investment in expanding our operation. So currently, Audubon has programs in 4 Latin American countries, Mexico, Panama, Colombia, and Chile. But we also have ongoing projects in 5 additional countries, which are the ones that are shown in green here in the map. And also, while our main reason for working in Latin America has to do with this need of protecting birds across their full annual cycle, we have also expanded the focus of our protection efforts to cover Latin American birds that are resident but that are highly threatened and whose protection can also benefit migratory birds. These are the strategies that we are developing in Latin America and enacting in Latin America to protect birds. Very quickly, they focus on the creation of subnational and national protected areas. Our goal when we started this new Audubon Americas program was the creation of 2 million hectares of new protected areas in the places that are most critical for bird conservation in Latin America and the Caribbean. Our second strategy has to do with the implementation of bird-friendly practices in working lands, and our aim is to reach 5 million hectares of working lands under bird-friendly practices. Our third strategy has to do with coastal resilience. And through that strategy, we are aiming to restore or improve the management of 1 million hectares of coastal bird habitat. And finally, we are working with partners to build a constituency for birds. And I will tell you now more about these different strategies. So beginning with the subnational and national protected area strategy, one of our most successful projects is Conserva Aves, and this is a photograph of one of those landscapes that have become a reserve in perpetuity thanks to the efforts of this Conserva Aves project, which is collaborative effort by 4 leading science-based conservation organizations. Those are Audubon, BirdLife, American Bird Conservancy, and Birds Canada, through which we aim to catalyze the establishment of 100 new protected areas covering 2 million hectares, that is roughly 5 million acres at the subnational level by 2028. This is a project that is ongoing in 9 Central and South American countries. And the way it works is not, this is not like a regular protected area program where Audubon would go in and buy land. What we're doing is we are developing analysis to basically find out what are the areas that are most critical for bird protection. And once we establish those spatial priorities, we through Red Flag in each country, we launch competitive grant programs that basically offer technical support and some financial incentives for the establishment of new protected areas. But those lands remain the property of the communities that live in them. And this is one of those projects where we have gone beyond finding out priorities for declining migratory birds, and we have also included globally and nationally threatened birds and bird species, and also endemic and range restricted birds. So I'm gonna tell you very quickly what I do in my capacity as science director for this project. A lot of the effort that goes into the establishment of these protected areas has to do with mapping species distributions, and this is something that may seem a little bit trivial because like you can see maps of bird distributions everywhere, but it's actually not as trivial. And when you go down to the details, getting the species distributions right is very important for the identification of areas that are critical for their conservation. So we have developed a framework for mapping species distribution, and actually a few days ago we released a paper with the maps that we have developed for over 700 species that have gone directly into informing the priorities for new protected areas. So once we complete that mapping process, and we completed this a while ago, we overlay basically those species distributions where with a map of where current protected areas are, which is what you see here on the left side of the screen. All of those polygons that are in gray color are the national protected areas of Colombia. And with this information, we can know if species are adequately represented in protected areas or not. Once we know that information, we can identify which areas hold the species that are in most need of protection, and we can rank them. And so places that have a lot of those species that are in need of protection are more important for filling gaps in species conservation than maybe areas that only have a few species that are also widespread. So this map here on the right is basically how the priorities that we have established for conservables look like for Colombia, and we have repeated this process for 9 other countries. And so when we launch the calls for proposals, the proponents need to make sure that the new reserves that they are proposing fall within the priorities that we have identified. So, as I mentioned, this has been very successful, and right now, well, this figure is actually outdated. It's a little bit higher now. So up to 2024, we had established over 70 or helped establishment of over 70 reserves in the tropical Andes countries, that is from Colombia to Bolivia. And those reserves collectively cover 3.5 million acres. As I said, that figure is now a bit closer to our goal, which is 4.9 million acres. So this project has been so successful that even though we initially thought of launching it in 9 countries, we are considering now releasing it in even more countries. So yeah, 11 countries up to 2025. Since this is a talk for the Hawk Migration Association, I thought many of you would be interested in knowing some of the species that are considered to identify those spatial priorities for placement of new protected areas. And so this is the complete list of resident raptors from Latin America that are being prioritized by Conservaves, and this excludes also I mean we are not including explicitly migratory birds in this list, but they're included through a different analysis avenue. So we have good representation also in our prioritization of broad-winged hawk and Swainson's hawk, but also of like some really cool raptors, such as the black and chestnut eagle, and even some species of forest falcons that are really rare. So I'll talk now about another strategy, which is the working lands strategy, aiming to uh, uh, implement or and also scale bird-friendly practices across the agricultural sector. For this strategy, we have focused on a landscape in Colombia, in the Cauca Valley department, that is home to a bunch of migratory species that are of conservation interest, such as osprey, black-polled warbler, and the lesser yellowlegs. And this is a landscape where we are incentivizing and promoting two main bird-friendly implementations, agricultural implementations. The first one has to do with cattle ranching, which usually looks like this in the Cauca Valley. So basically, you only have like very degraded pastures in what were once wetlands, and very sparse trees, a lot of cows in a very reduced space. And one of the strategies that we have found that improve bird friendliness, it's something and that is called silvopastoral systems, which basically consist of planting these trees that you see here on these rows that are foraged by the cows. So with this, we the farmers get to put like the same amount of cows in a much reduced amount of land, and that free us space for planting native trees that benefit birds in areas that are suboptimal for cattle. So right now we have promoted the implementation of those silvopastoral systems in several farms in the Cauca Valley region, and we're working with the cattle ranching sector through the publication of playbooks and guides to scale sustainable cattle ranching system across all of Colombia. The other bird-friendly implementation that we are promoting has to do with the sugarcane sector, which is also very big in the Cauca Valley. This is assumed to what I'm referring to here as the Cauca Valley region. Actually, this is the most productive sector in the area with almost 1 million acres in sugarcane, which looks like this. There are very few birds that can survive in these agro-industrial systems. And yeah, like one of the main issues with sugarcane cultivation in this area is the basically the desiccation of a large number of wetlands, so much that 80% of the wetlands that occurred in this region in the 1970s right now have been lost. In spite of that, like we found in this whole area 422 bird species, 86 of them being migratory and 8 threatened globally, according to BirdLife. So what can we do? One of the things that we have been working with the sugarcane sector is promoting the rotation of this sugarcane monoculture with rice fields. And so something that happens with the sugarcane monoculture is that every 7 years, they have to basically remove all of the sugarcane and leave the soil to rest for a period of time. What we're proposing is that during that resting period, that they're not receiving any income from the sugarcane cultivation, they can plant rice instead. And what the rice planting creates is these temporary wetlands that many migratory shorebirds can use and benefit from. We have run some surveys that indicate that the bird friendliness of rice fields is significantly higher than the bird friendliness of the same kind of fields without rice. And one of the indicator species for the bird friendliness of this sugarcane rice rotation strategy is lesser yellowlegs, which is also a globally threatened species. So since 2022, we've been working on a tracking project for that bird species, working on like you can see that these guys are knee deep in the mud, trying to capture the lesser yellowlegs. And so we have been working on those areas basically to capture and tag lesser yellowlegs with those transmitters that are detected by the Modus network of telemetry station. So what this work has allowed us to do is to basically track the local and also hemispheric movements of lesser yellowlegs. And we have had several insights from that work. One of them being that, and perhaps the most important, is that lesser yellowlegs, opposed to what was believed some years ago, uh, it's residing for the whole duration of the winter in the Cauca Valley. So they're not using this area and those rice fields just as a stopover. That is like good migratory wintering habitat for lesser yellowlegs. And actually, we have found higher densities of lesser yellowlegs in the rice fields than in natural wetlands. So, like that, like the point that I'm trying to make and that we're making with the sugarcane sector is that this is like the sugarcane rice rotation is actually having like measurable benefits for the conservation of a threatened bird. The second insight from the tracking work is that the birds that winter in the Cauca Valley actually have a really good survival. So, like right now, we don't have any indication that this is suboptimal habitat for these birds. The birds that we tagged, for example, in 2022, were all able to uh, 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 go back to their breeding grounds. We lost track of them once they move into the boreal region because there are not many motor stations over there. But we were able to track them all 100% of them on their way back, and they return to the same location. So yeah, this is ongoing work, but and right now we're very excited for having a donation that is going to allow us to put GPS tags on these birds and find out what happens with them after they go into the boreal region. Okay. Moving on into strategy 3, which has to do with coastal resilience. This is a strategy that we have deployed in 2 countries, Chile and Panama. I will be talking more about the work that we have done in Panama. And so one of the reasons why Panama was so important for coastal resilience is that in Panama, 68% of their mangrove coverage was lost between the 60s and 2016. And this photograph exemplifies that. And this is the Panama City region, and basically the sprawling of the city has reduced a lot of the original mangrove cover in that area, and that pattern has repeated in other areas of the country, maybe not so much for cities, but for farming and other types of human interventions. So one of the things that we have been doing over there is realizing that one of the most important ecosystem services that mangroves provide is carbon sequestration. We worked with the Panamanian government and their Ministry of Environment to establish basically how much those mangrove forests, what was the sequestration of carbon in them. And so that basically informs national and international policy, because the Panamanian government can say, we are contributing to mitigate climate change by having this forest, that capture this much carbon in a year or in 10 years. Some of the other things that we have been working for coastal resilience is restoration and also the establishment of management plans for mangrove regions. And well, you may be wondering how does this relate to birds? So we wanted to know that basically if protecting these very carbon-rich environments also meant something for bird conservation. And so these are very difficult to access areas. I was there 2 years ago and walking, I don't know, 100 meters of mangrove, having to climb this type of routes it's quite a workout. So the traditional bird monitoring methods were not going to offer us much information here. So what we did instead was to place these acoustic recorders that you see in the photograph. Those are called audiomods, and what they allow us is to record sounds at set periods of the day that we can process later on with tools from artificial intelligence to identify the birds that were present there. And so this allows us to survey both the mangrove forest of Panama Bay in like a really wide area of Panama and of Panama Bay and Parita Bay. This is a quick summary of the results that we got from those acoustic surveys. One of the issues with using artificial intelligence to identify calls is that if you've ever used Merlin, you know that it doesn't get it 100% right. And in the case of the method that we use to validate or to classify our recordings, it failed even more. So almost 50% of the species that were detected by the artificial intelligence we were able to validate as correct identification in both areas, Parita and Panama Bay. And out of those species that we verified, we were able to confirm the presence of a good number of boreal birds, 18 on Parita Bay and 19 in Panama Bay. Many of those species are actually very rare in Panama. So we were actually able to confirm the presence of these two migratory birds to a good degree of certainty. And I mean that it's a good evidence of the extra information that you can get from acoustic monitoring that would be very hard to get through just visual and acoustic, traditional acoustic monitoring. But going back to the carbon issue, we were able, since we had all that work on carbon and establishing how much carbon we're capturing the mangroves in Panama and Parita Bay, we were able to identify certain species that seem to respond positively to the carbon that was stored even either in the above ground biomass or in the roots of the mangroves. One of them actually it's a hawk. The common black hawk is one of those species that was a significant indicator of forest that had a good carbon stock. And these are also some other results that indicate also that forests or mangrove forests that are high in carbon also are more bird friendly. So we can see here how as carbon increases, bird friendliness goes up, and also how as human footprint increases, as there are more buildings, roads, etc., also bird friendliness decreases. The final strategy that I'm going to be talking about is this building a constituency for birds strategy. One of the main actions that we are taking under this strategy is the establishment of national bird conservation strategies. Right now, we have completed those national bird conservation strategies for Colombia and Chile, and we're in the process of developing something, another strategy for bird conservation in Mexico. And so the purpose of those bird conservation strategies is to mainstream birds and habitats into each country economic and development agendas. These are basically action plans for bird conservation that are either endorsed by the Ministry of Environment, which is the case of Colombia, or have even been sanctioned into law, as is the case in Chile. And so what that allows is to academic conservation and industrial sectors to basically sit together and plan actions that are good for birds. Another area of action of this strategy is the establishment of bird watching trails, and this is something that has been really well developed in Colombia, with the establishment of 4 birding trails in the country, providing training for local tour and guide operators so that they can promote different areas as birding destinations, and also promoting economic development of those communities that are very important to for bird conservation through bird tourism. Then finally, what another important milestone of this strategy has been the development of an education curriculum that has been sanctioned in Colombia by the National Ministry of Education, which basically elevates birds in the school system and creates best practices for including birds in different educational activities for middle school kids. So that was a really broad overview of what we do. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I haven't been paying attention to the chat. Also, here's my contact information in case you want to reach out to me individually. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Jorge. It seems like Audubon is doing a lot of incredible work in the Americas on conservation for birds. We have a few questions. The first question is from Christina. She wants to know if you could please explain more the relationship between high carbon content and birds.
Yes, sure. So it's this is a correlative study, right? So we know the birds that are present in a particular parcel that has been also assessed for carbon and other nutrients, and also for structural variables such as tree height, diameter, breast height, a lot of other things. And one of the significant relationships that we found is with this index that is called the bird friendliness index, that integrates bird composition, abundance of individual species, and functional diversity, with the above ground biomass, which is a proxy for how much carbon a forest has. And so it's not like the birds are responding directly to the carbon content of the trees. What we believe, and the most likely explanation, is that mangrove forests that have been standing for a long time are bigger. They have more branches. They have perhaps more holes that birds can use to predate on insects. Yeah, it's more that structural diversity of old growth mangrove forest what's driving up bird friendliness. And it's probably not so much that there are more species, but that there is a higher abundance of those same bird species. Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, we have a few questions about the agricultural work you're doing. So Julie would like to know, how widespread is the pasture tree planting method used at this point? In addition to educating about bird diversity, is there any additional incentive provided to farmers to take on this practice?
Yes. Well, the main incentive is economic. So, and there have been, where Audubon is not the only organization working on sustainable cattle ranching in Colombia. There are many organizations. And it's been established that when you implement those silvopastoral systems, you increase your productivity. That's the main thing. But also, like the quality of either the milk or the meat is higher, and also they have to spend less money on, like, for example, changing the pastures or using herbicides and things like that. So actually, we don't talk so much about birds with cattle ranchers. We talk about the economic benefits that they get from the implementation of these silvopastoral systems, and also of like the things that they can do to have like a more sustainable farm like for example, planting those bird-friendly trees that are both good for birds, but it's not just that they're good for birds, but that they provide some ecosystem services that reduce their reliance, for example, on pesticides to control for several diseases that cows get.
Wow, that's so cool. Lynn and John would like to know, after the 7-year sugarcane cycle, how long do the rice fields stay in place?
Yeah, they usually support 1 year of rice. And 1 year of rice in Colombia means that you can get 2 crops out of it. Yeah, and then they replant that with sugarcane. But
Okay.
as I mentioned, there's almost 1 million acres in sugarcane. So that 7 year cycle, it's like Christmas lights. Like one turns off somewhere and then one turns on somewhere else. It's not coordinated where that happens.
Great. So there's always kind of a habitat matrix
Yeah,
that has the rice
yeah,
plantations.
correct.
So cool. Christina would like to know, is bird tourism having any significant impact on the economies of Panama, Colombia, Chile, and or Mexico?
That's a very good question. And I would like to have some hard data on that. Anecdotally, I can tell you that in Colombia, for sure, there are some communities that have organized themselves around bird tourism. And it was very clear during the pandemic how dependent they become on foreign bird tourism. So, and it's a market that continues to increase. When I talk informally with local tour guides, I often ask them, like, aren't you afraid that the market is like going to saturate and that there are going to be like many local guides, and they always tell me we can't keep up with the demand. There are too many people like asking for our services that we have to decline because we don't have the capacity.
Wow, that's really, really promising. Krishna would like to know, do you have different approaches for preservation of habitat for native birds versus transitory migratory birds, specifically hawks?
Yeah, also very good question. So for area-based conservation, which is what we aim to do through our protected area strategy, is mostly focused on like keeping the land in their natural state, and in some cases even supporting restoration of lands that have been transformed. We don't have anything specific for birds that are just stopping over. That is something that I see more feasible through our building a constituency strategy, because it is so hard to plan for that, and I believe that for that education and it's really important to protect those places that are just used for a set period of time. And that's basically what we are aiming to elevate through those national bird conservation plans and
Right.
education curriculum. Yeah.
To kind of tack onto that, I have a question from me about the habitat protection that Audubon is doing. Um, I know you mentioned coastal and wetlands. Are there any very specific rare habitat types that are most in need of protection in Central South America for birds? And what are they?
Hmm. Well, what a good question. Yeah, I guess we have been looking so much at the birds that we haven't looked at so much at particular habitat types. Dry forest is the first one that comes to mind just because there's so little of it. And I would say also inland wetlands are one of those like very threatened ecosystems in general for birds. But it would be good to overlay where our priorities fall in relation to different ecosystem types.
Cool. And I'm sure they're very specific. I saw on the map that there's a lot of mountainous areas that kind of looks like are being protected, but I'm sure each of them have very individual species that, you're looking at as well. So
Yeah,
I know
one
it's complicated.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned it because since I'm from the Andes, I'm from Colombia. I often don't think about the importance of mountains because I take them so much for granted. What you're saying is true. I mean, basically, each mountain that we have in the Andes has its own endemism, and that's why. Yeah, like from an ecosystem point of view, they may be the same thing, and there may be a lot of it, but from a evolutionary perspective, they are very different, and each one is its own thing, which is why you see our priorities sometimes like being so much all over the place.
Yes, I can imagine it's incredibly complicated. We have one last question from Gordon who says, and this is related to the ecotourism again, how can we reconcile the positive impacts of bird tourism with the carbon footprint of air travel?
Yeah. Again, good question. I wish we had a way around that, right? Because it is true that many of these areas that receive bird tourism have had significant declines, if not a complete stop in deforestation. And that is the reason why we still have the birds there. And it is very likely that if the income from bird tourism doesn't flow into those communities, they would go back to cutting down forests. Um, but yeah, an undeniable high footprint of travel. I don't know if it's in our hands or if it's in the hands of the air travel industry to I don't know, have solar powered planes or do a better job at offsetting those carbon emissions. And finally, like donating directly into those communities, maybe like an option if you want the positive benefits of having a community engaging in conservation while reducing your footprint, but you don't get to see the birds. That's the unfortunate part.
Yes. Yes. There's certainly something to be said from like having a direct connection to these spaces and wanting to protect them more. So, yeah, I know it's complicated, but I think it's ecotourism is probably still a very important part of protecting these areas. Okay, so we just have a few comments in the chat now saying thank you and what amazing work you're doing, and thank you for all the work that you do. So I'm gonna hand it back over to Julie now. Thank you, Jorge.
Yeah, thank you,
Pleasure.
Jorge. Great, Great questions, everybody. And thank you so much for just taking the time, Jorge, to speak to us about this important work you're doing, all the, bird tracking and protecting habitats and all the education. It's such important work. And I think just the scale of what you're doing, all these efforts and working with so many different countries and organizations, it's really impressive. So it makes me happy. It gives me hope for just birds and, all the challenges they are facing. So thank you. And for next month, we are going to be back for our Lunch and Learn in August on the 13th, just a few weeks away. And we're going to be hearing from Kurt Hungen from the National Aviary in Pennsylvania, and he's going to be talking about his telemetry work studying the Andean condor in Ecuador. So more focus on South America. And lastly, or I will mention, you can register for that now on our HMA Facebook page or on our website at hawkmigration.org. And I will just, before we leave, just mention if you're not an HMA member, we encourage you to join our kettle. It's a great way to not only support raptors, the birds we all love, but also hawk watchers and the Hawk Watching Network and all the great work they're doing to monitor birds every year. Your membership is helping us maintain hawk count, our database. It's helping us offer programs like this, Lunch and Learn, and produce our journal that we publish twice a year, and so many more programs. So thank you for tuning in today and for supporting HMA and raptor conservation. And thanks again to Jorge. And we hope to see everybody next month. Have a great day.